Life is best when you have a special partner to share it with. However, romance can wait, or doesn't need to. As one of high school's biggest sporting events is about to start, Nationals, where only a first place winner exists. There will be a Mount Fuji worth of losers lying in the wake. That is what Taiki failed to achieve this year. But that still means there is hope for the Hooper waifu he admires to be with the most, to achieve everything she worked so hard for. The funny thing about relationships is that is nothing new, except between the two. This episode will show what it's like to be in that successful relationship, where Taiki faces the same themes and hardships he is going through right now, with the backstory between his senpais, Haru and Karen. For this video, we're going to be covering Blue Box Season 1, Episode 13, Naristatis. It's that time of the day, Nationals. Future mother-in-law sends off her guests for everything she's been working for, good luck charm and all, because she took all of Taiki's luck, am I right? It's okay to take L's, guys. Taiki runs out to give Chinatsu her wallet that she left behind by accident because all eyes are on the prize. Or this is an omen. After taking a major L himself, slowly working on his game to make do with his badminton national aspirations, going on dates that he doesn't realize are dates, and falling asleep while his crush is there, staring at him, speaking her true feelings, displaying that if you really had the courage, a lot of this miscommunication, misunderstandings can be relieved if you just had the courage to say what you really wanted to say to their face. So here, Taiki is, with his feelings still intact for the girl he admires beyond her physical beauty, because Hooper waifus are the new wave. Ippon! But Taiki ultimately respects boundaries after being unintentionally CB'd at the end of episode 10. So here is the girl on her way up to the top that he had to run away from his embarrassment. It's like that feeling when your significant other is about to lap you in life while you're stuck and can't level up. Once again, here is one of Taiki's goals, ready to compete for all the marbles, and the entire reason why she stayed behind in Japan is for this very day, to attempt to win at Nationals.
I hope you don't win.
Just kidding guys, let me build this back up. After Taiki sees the girl he admires in more ways than one, not only physically, but most importantly, mentally. Like the good luck bracelets and promises they made early on, Chinatsu's bracelet has yet to break, with her wish coming true to make it to Nationals. Like any guy that likes the girl, it's important to keep the conversation continuing and moving forward, as Taiki is trying to leave his mark behind, because a simple
Ganbatte
would have been enough for any normal girl like Hina. Taiki uses the anklet as a way to keep them still connected, to add even more promises to the good luck charm by sending it whatever good luck key he has left, promising Chinatsu senpai good health so she doesn't sprain an ankle and brick a shot in the clutch. And also, most importantly, take that dub. Unfortunately for Chinatsu, she just doesn't feel any of Taiki's ki and suggests to give it to her through body heat to body heat. High five! With that good luck transfer of kinetic energy of body heat through the hands, Chinatsu tells Taiki, you are most definitely a flirt. With the conclusion of this scene and the previous episode telling us that, you know what, Chinatsu does actually still like Taiki in some way. So this scene right here kind of brings it back together, like Taiki does have a chance with Chinatsu, while Chinatsu herself probably still has some reservations about Taiki's attitude at this point. But overall, this Taiki and Chinatsu relationship is moving back in a positive direction, with their potential romance back on the table. As we'll see further with Karen's appearance, how much more likely it is for them. Back to the bro with the true perceptive, objective insight that is Kasahara Kyo, as he tells Taiki that both Chinatsu and himself are being quite flirty. Taiki stood around to be ultra extra with the anklet key, good luck, words of encouragement, and Chinatsu wanting body heat. Kyo starts to make Taiki aware that Imada from the girls' basketball team saw him and Chono together, alone. Which means this makes things complicated, with Taiki telling Chinatsu that they would be going to the fireworks festival in a group. Now it really just looks like it was a date, and that makes him look like a big old Sosuke. Taiki, now knowing what Chinatsu likely thinks, he is going to eventually take action to correct it by apologizing. Except timing is everything, and right now nationals are on the line. So everyone, including Hina and Haru, are totally locked in, as love can take a backseat to achievements. It transitions to nationals as Taiki sizes up the kid that humbled him from Sajikawa, Yusa Shuji. He remembers what Hyodo Shota said, that next year will probably be Yusa and Haru that will make it to nationals. As Taiki ponders his competitive viability in badminton, Karen is here to present the part of the story where Taiki's future romance with Chinatsu can eventually end up. Karen notices Taiki at the Badminton Nationals event and stops by to say hi and explore some backstory. Karen gives the phone to Taiki to have him talk to his special senpai, except she hung up on your boy. Moria Karen plays like this special middleman, part of this Taiki and Chinatsu's growing romantic relationship, just like Kyo, but Karen holds and represents what all the characters really want in the story, and that is a good, loving relationship. They represent the ideal relationship, as there is no better example than the model senpai, and the handsomely smart, quintessential ideal senpai to use as a reference for RMC to look up to. Karen already knew by Taiki's reaction that he indeed has quite the crush on her bestie, and even teases your boy like it must be pretty hard living next to a person you like, especially during puberty. Karen begins to ask about what Chinatsu has been like living under the same roof as him, as Taiki explains that she might be a bit too considerate. And yes, she does randomly stare off into space like an aloof hooper that doesn't remember the play that coach drew up. Karen even references that Chinatsu likes to stare at you and the snacks that you are wielding in your possession, like that fried chicken incident. Taiki continues that glowingly flirty talk about Chinatsu when he tells Karen that time stops when she stares at your fried chicken. Here we are at a scene to showcase cute couple issues. Haru is surprised to see his girlfriend to support him, as a model like Karen can be quite busy, but deep down everyone knows how special you must feel to have your model girlfriend show up to cheer for you, while all the homies gather around to be jealous of what you got. While Taiki and Karen look for a seat together to cheer on Haru, Taiki admires how both Haru and Karen are able to find a happy balance in their work, badminton, school relationship. Karen, like the rest of us, sees where that statement can be a bit of a projection of Taiki's future relationship with Chinatsu, as Karen starts to explain how it all began and worked out between Haru and herself. So once upon a 5th grade, it was actually junior high that they developed feelings for each other, but were already locked into goals they individually had. After flirting with each other over the phone and slowly bonding their feelings for each other over time, it wasn't until a particular incident that brought these two together to become official. After Karen felt really down about work, Mr. Kango thought it was a bright idea to embarrass himself by bringing his journal from 2nd grade, using the excuse that he was going for a run, but was really trying to run into Karen's heart. This little 2nd grade journal was supposed to be something for Karen to get her mind off her worries with something goofy. But when a guy makes this kind of move, we all know what they really feel. Knowing Karen's propensity to be an overthinker, Haru thought it was a good idea to seal the deal with her feelings with something personal, dumb, and especially endearing to Karen's heart. This leads to that special moment that is body heat to body heat, from face to chest, almost hand to butt. Feelings erupted inside of Karen as the friend she admires is the man she desires, leading her to her confession to Haru. With her mind wrapped up with work getting replaced by the man giving her the work, they both decide to call it quits if their life goals ever gets thwarted by their romance. Like any relationship, that balance is always going to be a work in progress that can only be discovered by actually giving the relationship a shot. That kind of sounds like what a future character would say. This backstory between Haru and Karen is very important because they are not only senpai for Taiki's badminton improvement, as Kango Haru is exactly where Taiki wants to be, competing at nationals. But both Haru and Karen, they provide that guiding light for Taiki and Chinatsu's potential romance, coming together and seeing how it can work. As in both sides, they have their own personal ambitions, but they still strive to help push each other to become better versions of themselves. The next scene shows Taiki and Karen cheering on Haru as he wins his first match. And look who shows up again, Hyodo Shota, that defeated Haru earlier for qualifiers and shows that there is a level even higher than Haru's. Hyodo hinted in the previous episode that he is secretly cheering on Haru's Kohai, as cheering for the underdog that is working his ass off can be easy to cheer for. This scene continues to go with the theme of the representation of Taiki's future and what he wants to achieve, like Haru's and Karen's relationship and Haru's position as he is competing at nationals. Haru is the senpai stepping stone that Taiki needs to get over, as only two can make it to nationals next year, as Taiki has to beat out either Yusa or senpai. So that makes things very complicated. Hyodo straight up tells Haru that if he can't take a game away from him, good luck making it back next year. Hyodo, in this match against Haru, ends up being a game ahead of Haru and starts to break down how Haru ended up where he ended up, letting him score by being way too defensive, as it could be that mental hurdle of always losing to Hyodo in the past. So with Haru, with his back against the wall and looking back at Karen, who is uncharacteristically worried for him, we are now at the part of the backstory where we get to see Haru's point of view. They eventually meet during a swimming class where, contrasted by her beauty, her lack of ability to learn to swim showed an embarrassing side to her, which leads to Haru pointing out how bad she is at swimming. You know how a lot of relationships start? By bullying. A young Haru is out here trying to scold your girl, but what he doesn't know is that Karen is powered by the power of gay sharks. But Karen pulls him into the water to have him teach her, as she doesn't want to feel embarrassed by not being able to swim for various obvious reasons. But her goal for swimming was for the purpose of swimming with gay sharks. This entire scene is not only the start of a romantic bond, but it shows a side of romance that is very important in making you attractive, and that is the admiration and respect for your significant other, between being taught from partner to partner and striving to become better, in which this case is swimming. So eventually Karen was able to swim a 50-meter freestyle by the time she quit her swimming lessons, leaving their teacher in tears from her progress. But sadly, both Haru and Karen ended up at different schools. However, that didn't stop them from communicating with each other, as they actually live relatively close to each other. Both Karen and Haru felt it deep down that they cared more romantically for each other than they really wanted to share. But Haru used the excuse of him not wanting to get in the way of her goals. So he never built up that courage himself to act on his true feelings. Even though they hung out, motivated each other, basically went out on plenty of one-on-one dates. So once again, this scene continues the trend of showing our MC that Taiki and Chinatsu's feelings and issues from being distant from their growing romantic feelings, where they're afraid that their ambitions will get in their way, where that romantic feeling might be something of a hindrance to their growing romantic feelings, in which this case of Haru and Karen's relationship, it shows that this is not really that unique of an experience, that there is a way to balance a relationship along with work, school, and any other extracurricular activities. It also capitalizes on the entire show's theme of sports and how a romantic partner should be someone that motivates you to just do better and be a better person. Just as Karen showed Haru her will to be better for her ultimate goal of swimming with gay sharks, with that body heat to body heat action of face to chest and almost hands, the but, it only makes sense the crescendo of this growing relationship results in ski. Like any man, Haru felt embarrassed that he wasn't the one that developed enough courage to tell her how he truly feels. But the result is still what both wanted in the end. As it flips back to the present, we have a shonen crescendo of overcoming the Michael Jordan of badminton right in front of him. Like Taiki, who admires Chinatsu and her grind to become better, Haru sees the same motivating, cool aspects in Karen, who he wants to live up to her expectations. Karen, who also reciprocates this sentiment in seeing a loved one strive to be better, making herself want to become better herself. However, this is where the reality of sports humbles all, and Haru eventually loses to Hyodo after actually winning a match. But Hyodo saved a special smash for Haru in the end, which shows that Hyodo is still a level above him. With Haru's disappointment, he still feels the urge to go for a run at the end of his match, and this is where Karen solidifies the story's purpose of showing the parallels to Taiki, that Karen and Haru is just like Chinatsu and Taiki, with Karen capping it off with her telling Taiki that he should make sure to work as hard for badminton and Karen, like all of us, is wondering when Taiki is going to confess, but Taiki is trying to be as considerate as much as Chinatsu is trying to be considerate to him and his family. So Karen gives us the perspective that it is actually even creepier that Taiki doesn't confess when they are living under the same roof, as he clearly has ulterior motives, making him even creepier. Maybe it might be better to risk rejection knowing that your feelings are known than secretly staring and smelling her without her knowing. The scene ends between Taiki and Karen as Taiki has to mull over how he truly wants to deal with his feelings and confession to Chinatsu. And there is still a mist of misconceptions that they must talk through. So this eventually leads us to one of the final scenes, as it takes us to the "this could be us" scene between Haru and Karen. There's nothing like a gigantic smack dab of wholesomeness involving some girlfriend motivation with a sweaty body heat to body heat action from your boyfriend, grasping you from behind, melting the inside of your heart, putting you in a soothing state of calm. And just add some more girlfriend motivations to wrap up the theme of not only the most ideal relationship in Blue Box, but to really show Taiki and Chinatsu that this can really be them. This episode really is about that turning point in Taiki and Chinatsu's relationship. Episode 10 really threw a wrench in how it really felt like Chinatsu rejected Taiki. But with episode 12 down, with what happened at the festival, we now know that Chinatsu does have an interest in Taiki. And with the beginning scene, it shows that there are potential sparks here. Karen showing up at nationals and having this bonding time with Taiki informed Taiki about a lot. Of all the issues that he's facing, Karen and Haru has already experienced, and how their relationship works really parallels how potentially Taiki and Chinatsu's relationship can work. So Haru and Karen's relationship paves the path that Taiki and Chinatsu can potentially follow in the story. This is literally Haru and Karen's role in the story. They are, to me, the ideal relationship in the story. They are the relationship that I think the author is telling us what she thinks is the most ideal. And that goes along with the themes of like sports. Like the two partners, they both have their own ambitions, but one of the most important things in the relationship is that they have this uplifting support for each other. Although individually they have something they want to achieve, the special ingredient is that they both come together to help propel each other and uplift each other when things goes wrong. It's just that bonding, that support system that they have for each other that makes relationships between a guy and a girl just that much more special. So all the values, all the themes, I think are represented through Haru and Karen's relationship, and this episode basically tells us where Taiki and Chinatsu's relationship will ultimately end up. So overall, this episode continues to show the slow, wholesome grind of this impending confession from Taiki to Chinatsu, or maybe even from Chinatsu to Taiki. But in the back of our minds, we know that Hina is literally right there. So this sets up for someone's heart to be ultimately shattered in the process. There's nothing like the conflicting feelings of impending doom, but on the flip side, the ultimate reward of that payoff of a relationship working out. All waiting in the wings of whenever this romantic payoff eventually leads us. The most important thing to me to get out of this episode is Haru and Karen's relationship and what it really means big picture wise. So as the story eventually gets back to Hina, there's a ton of other things to look forward to and talk about. But yeah, this is another really good episode down. This is my first episode review of the series. If you guys haven't seen my other anime and manga review of Blue Box, go ahead and check that out. So yeah, if you guys are watching Blue Box or haven't yet, let me know what you guys think about the series, and do me a favor, hit the like button for successful relationships, and subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. Check out my blog at otakusen.com, and I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you guys on the next video.